What's good, Badger fans? We are back to tip off another edition of Shot of Wisky podcast, brought to you by the good people at New Amendment as a part of Beyond the Big Ten Podcast Network. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts, and on YouTube and all other socials, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok with the handle at Beyond the Big Ten, not spelled out, but the number 10. I am former Badger All-American Jordan Taylor alongside my guys this week, not just solo. We got the whole gang, man. First off, you know me, been here all year, Badger All-American, former Badger All-American, 2011 second-round pick and 8-year NBA vet, Jon Leuer, a.k.a. Cusco, because it's the finale. You getting that one more time. And then our guy, Captain America, another All-Big Ten Badger and a critical member of the 2014 and 15 Final Four teams, Josh Gosser. And I'm getting that name right 10 years, 15 years later, finally, man. But fellas, what's up, man? It's the finale. We made it through. Before I let y'all chime in, big shout out to Evan Turner, E.T., and Andre Iguodala and New Amendment for putting this together. And everybody make sure to stay tuned for what we got coming in store next year. But y'all, what's good, man? Happy to have both of y'all here for the first time this year.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. I have to point out that I got the short end of the stick on the nicknames. I'm a llama named Cusco, and Josh is Captain America. So that doesn't seem fair to me, but...
Hey, we didn't pick the nicknames; they're just given, John. I don't know what to say.
We should have won more games, man. That's when you win more games, you get cooler everything, man. I remember watching those dudes when they were the 2 seed in the tournament, that first Final Four run, and Clark Kellogg's on TV talking about, oh, Wisconsin's guards are big and athletic, and I was like, whoa.
I think they called me 6'6".
Yeah, they said Josh Gosser 6'6", Trayvon Jackson 6'4". I'm like, hold on. First of all, these people are growing because you win, and also, no, like these are the same athletes we've always had. But I was like, man, ain't that crazy? Yeah, ain't that crazy? When we were playing, it was, oh man, they're big, slow white guys, the buzz cuts.
Yeah.
So
someone's bitter.
Hey, bitter. Man, that's what I just got done. Don't get bitter, get better, man. I just got done watching that full swing documentary, which shameless plug. I guess you guys should check that out if you get a chance. It has nothing to do with this podcast, but really good content, man. But look, man, let's jump into it, man. We got the gang here. We'll talk about the Bradley game, the NIT. I thought a really good performance for the guys last week. We talked a lot. Me and Josh were here last week. John wasn't here. We talked about big men. One of the things we lacked this year was the big men being able to step away from the basket and hit shots. And Stephen Crowell apparently heard us talking and stepped away and poured in 36 points. I think 5 for 7 from 3. So give me, John, you go first. Give me your thoughts, I guess, just on that game. I don't know how much of it you got to see. I know it's been tough with the NIT, but just give us your thoughts on that game and Stephen Crowell's performance.
Yeah, no, I watched it, and Stephen Crowell was a story, right? And initially when I found out we were in the NIT, I was disappointed like you guys were, like the coaching staff was, like the players were, like all of Badger fans were. But now that we've gotten into the tournament and you see Stephen have a game like that, you realize the value of these games now in the NIT, right?
Yeah.
For him to go off for 36 and 5 for 7 from 3, that's going to do so much for his confidence, build momentum into the offseason where he can take another big step in his development. And same thing, I could jump into the game today, actually, with Chucky going off for 27 or whatever it was. I mean, this is valuable minutes for these guys, and we're a young team. And now I'm on board with the NIT run. Let's go win this thing, right? Like that's my mindset now.
Yeah. Josh, what you think?
It might be the last Big Ten team standing come March here. So, no, but I think, mission accomplished for the NIT. If it stopped today, the mindset of Chucky Hepburn and Stephen Crowell alone coming to the offseason, check the box. We're ready to go for next year. So that alone, I think, has proven a lot of value for this NIT run. But of course, let's keep it going. And Stephen Crowell just, even today, I think he got a technical and a flagrant foul. He just had a little different, like I said, mindset, a little more aggression. Same with Chucky, something that was lacking towards the end of the season. So I think that alone can help springboard. But First 2-game winning streak we've had in the year of 2023 as well. The first time we've won back-to-back games, albeit against Bradley and Liberty. But you know what? Oh well. Playing some teams. Cole Center crowd was kind of rocking a little bit today. So just got to try to keep those momentum going to finish the NIT season strong and into the offseason. Yeah, no, for sure. I think to both you guys' points is going to bring a lot of confidence. I think one thing that the NIT does is it I don't want to say guys don't care, but obviously it's not the same nerves as playing in the NCAA tournament. It's like, I think it's really the only time, maybe I guess in the preseason games a little bit, but I would say this competition's still better. It's really the only time that you get to kind of just relax and play basketball, which is really like, it's refreshing on the mind. It's you can kind of get back to enjoying it. You can kind of get back to just, focused on doing you're not really worried about stats or anything like that. You're just really just going out there hooping and what happens, I guess. Would be my guess. I guess we never played in the NIT. So that was a subtle shot, but you can feel that. I believe. Yeah. I'm with you, Jordan. That's the point. Yeah, subtle shot. But.
And we've talked about this. I think all three of us have. Like, if we did end up in the NIT, and Jordan and I were very close my sophomore year. Yeah. Like we had said, I think we would have just fell flat and gave in. Yeah. Honestly, like we did not want to have anything to do with that. So honestly, I give a lot of credit to these guys because they flirted with that idea, right? Of just kind of mailing it in, like we should be in the NCAA tournament. We don't want to deal with this NIT BS. Facts. But that's not the case. Like, they're playing hard. Josh, you mentioned like Steven Crowd getting chippy today, like, fighting. So I think that speaks to the character of this team. I think it speaks to the character of the coaching staff to get these guys to buy into an NIT run and build and develop for next year. I think this is important couple of games that we've been playing here.
Nah, 100%. Let's build a crowd too. I want to give a shout out to the crowd today. I think 10,000 people, but it was probably the best Cole Center crowd we've had in a while. So
yeah, a lot better than that first game.
Going into the off season. I mean, it was a pretty cool environment, just in terms of maybe a younger fan base, a younger audience. I don't know, different people in the building. Jordan, you talked about that last week. Kind of curious, and I went there today just to check it out, and it was a pretty fun environment, I thought. And a lot of that had to do probably with we scored a little bit. The pace was maybe a little quicker, so it can go both ways. But I think in general the crowd was pretty good, and that can, I don't know, springboard that in next year too. Yeah,
it looked like it.
Yeah, that's something that's got to change. I know it's been talked about for a couple of years, and they've done things like Area Red, which has been cool. Shout out to those guys. The home court advantage just doesn't seem like what it used to be. It just isn't what it used to be. I don't know. I haven't been to a game. I've only been to like one game in the past couple of years, but it is a little. It's got to be a little disheartening from the players' perspective. Maybe they just don't know any better. I don't know what you guys think, but hopefully that can carry over into next year, and we can get some of that raucous crowd back. Me and John, we talked about the game when the Ohio State game coming out to what, I don't know how many people were there, but remember we were just eating team meal, and the lines are wrapped around the building, and the student section was packed to the top when we came out for warmups. And it really wasn't just the Ohio State game. I remember the Purdue game, Josh, your freshman year. Remember when Chancellor Biddy no day. Yeah, she remembers. I think it was like 6 minutes left, and it was like a tie game, and she announced that it was going to be a snow day for tomorrow. And I don't know if we win that game for real, like without that announcement. Like, it sounded like the whole crowd went crazy, and so just
student section. Especially
of course. So
and we knew our off day would be pretty fun if we got to win.
Yeah, facts.
Let's make that clear.
I remember walking backwards to the bar to the KK that night because it was so windy and snowy. My cousins were there.
And then the next day, didn't we have that huge university snowball fight on Bascom Hill or whatever it was? Yeah. That was a good 24 hours.
That was.
Knock off Purdue, Etwan Moore, Robbie Hummel, Juwan Johnson. Beat them because we get a boost of energy from our crowd after a snow day announcement, and then we get a big snowball fight with all of our fellow students.
Man, 100%. But that being said, man, we're talking a lot about moving into the future and what the NIT can do for the attitudes and the minds of all the guys. So I guess let's just talk about before we have a guest coming on for y'all, but before he gets here, I guess let's just talk about some of the growth that we would like to see from the guys. Like, and we can just go down the line, honestly, and just give quick, like, if we're talking about Chucky, like, what are some things that Chucky can do to improve his game and help the team win more next year?
I would say for Chucky, I think the biggest thing watching him this year, he's made great strides from last year, obviously, and improved. But I think the biggest thing for him in this offseason is finishing around the basket over his primary defender, right? Like, if I were him, I would have somebody, a manager, somebody in front of me, and for the first 20 minutes of all my workouts, just work on finishing over people, because he struggled with that this year at times. And I think that's the last part of his game, right? He's got a good mid-range game, shoots it great from three, but finishing around the basket for him, I think, is that next evolution in his game.
Yeah, to your point, John, 27 points today, 0 threes. So I think that's maybe a good step and springboard into that.
Yeah.
Playing against
today was his best game doing that. So
yeah, playing against 5'7" guards helps, but still, it doesn't matter who you're playing against. He still did it. So today was a great start. I think just be more aggressive. His aggressive mindset constantly throughout the game, not just picking a spot. So. Totally agree.
Yeah. I think, we talked about that, him just I think he did a great job of getting downhill throughout the course of the year, more and more. And John, we talked about that a lot on this podcast. I guess I would agree the next step. And, I think whether it's like floaters or whatever it is, because he's strong already, right? Like, he's strong. He's got a big body. So I think it's always tough to finish in the Big Ten around the rim, because there's always so much congestion. There's so many bodies in there. So just to me, like, being able to hit that floater from like 10 to 13 feet is something that might be the most important shot that he could get, not even just necessarily finishing over guards, because it's one of those things in the ball screens now. It's like just adds another element, probably gives more time on the pops if, is the big going to stay, get back, whatever. Like, it's just – so I think that specifically a floater would be something to add in for him. And we have a special guest for y'all. Before we get to the rest of the team, we got a special guest for y'all. The newest Badger, well, not yet, but soon, one of the 2023 recruits coming in this year from Appleton, Wisconsin, but at La Lumiere School. Is that how you say it?
La Lumiere.
I've been overseas, man. I was trying to get a little fancy with it. I was trying to
no, you're good.
Put my little French swag on it, man. But yeah, so we got the one and only man, Gus Yalden. Y'all might know him as Gus Bus. As I said, we're all excited to get him on campus. Excited for what you bring to the table, man. But first and foremost, we appreciate you joining us here and getting on to talk to us a little bit.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited.
No doubt. And listen, man, like we told you it was going to be a little bit about off air. We know Wisconsin. We got a lot of nicknames around here. Wisconsin buzz cuts. We're known as one of the more politically correct teams. So we want you to air it out, man. Speak your mind. Speak your heart on here, man. Give us the raw pause. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? Give us so yeah. So listen, man. First off, Gus, tell us a little bit about your high school season, how it went, your senior year, and just fill people in, man.
Yeah, so this year I went to La Lumiere in Indiana, and if you don't know anything about La Lumiere, it's a boarding/prep school for basketball and for other athletes in LaPorte, Indiana, kind of north of Chicago. And then La Lumiere plays in the NIBC, which stands for the National Interscholastic Basketball Conference. And in the NIBC are teams like Montverde, IMG Academy, Wasatch Academy, Sunrise Christian, Arizona Compass Prep, Oak Hill, Long Island Lutheran, with some alumni, with over 20, 30 NBA alumni in the past 5 years. It's probably arguably the best high school basketball conference. We played 5 events across the country in locations like Greenville, South Carolina. We went up to Springfield, Massachusetts. We went down to Montverde, Florida. So we've traveled all over the country to play these games. And this year I had a pretty good year. I led our conference in scoring for the majority of the season, and also was top 5 in rebounding and the second most efficient shooter in the conference. So I think I had a pretty good year. It was
talk your shit, Gus. Gus.
Yeah, I had good year numbers wise, but I think our team struggled a little bit. We only had 7 players. One of our guys kind of left us right before the season started for some personal reasons, and it's just basketball, so that sucked. And then we had injuries dragging us down all year, which was really bad. So it was tough to play with 7 guys. There was a lot of games where I ended up playing 30 minutes or 29 minutes, 28 minutes of the whole game. So it was a long year, but it was fun for sure. And I think that like a lot of kids for their senior year, they're playing against regular high school students and regular kids who aren't going to play Division I athletes. And like in the NIBC, I played kids who were going to Duke every game, the number 1 draft prospect in the 2024 draft, guys who Power 5 stars, like McDonald's All-Americans, the best players in the country every weekend for 2-3 games a weekend. So I think that like I challenged myself and gave myself the opportunity to kind of simulate college the best I can my senior year of high school, so that when I go to school next year, I'm ready to kind of make that impact and not be have that kind of freshman slump or be that kind of freshman who's not ready and has to adjust to the curve and kind of ready to go, ready to play.
And Gus, if I had to play against my high school team, IMG and Mount Verde, we would have struggled too. I'll just put that out there. So, that's no shame struggling against those types of schools. We actually have a mutual connection. One of my closest friends is Tobias Harris. I know you've crossed paths with him before, and he raves about you, man. He says a lot of good. He's like, y'all got a good one in Gus. He's going to be a player for you. So. I guess my question for you would be, is there a player maybe in college or the NBA that you pattern your game after that you kind of aspire to be like?
Yeah. So, I mean, along with the Gus Bus nickname, a lot of people like to call me Baby Jokic towards like the beginning of high school because I can pass, shoot, move a little bit. And I mean, I'm a bigger kid and I kind of even look like when I shaved my head, we look like twins. So like we look pretty similar. So I guess that I've always watched him and I've really admired him, but I don't see the similarities in the way because he's a 7 foot and he's a true center. So I've kind of like tried to find guys like Kevin Love is a guy who I've really modeled my game after, kind of like a skilled forward who knows how to play the game, is really good at that. And then I've also watched Draymond Green. And I mean, he's not a very good skilled player, but he's probably the best player in the world at getting his teammates open looks and like creating for them. So kind of like the way he sets screens off the ball and the way he's able to throw his body and defenders off of dribble handoffs to create is really impressive to me and makes me kind of model myself after him, but definitely Kevin Love for the majority. And then probably college wise, I really watch Frank Kaminsky a lot. I watch his old highlights and stuff about him because growing up, he was my guy. He was my favorite player. He was like my idol. So I watch him all the time.
But before you jump in, Josh, with your question, I think I actually like the Draymond one just because if you watch Draymond in college, I actually see you might be young. You might even be a little young, but Draymond in college was very skilled. Mm-hmm. Was very skilled and does a lot of the things that I haven't seen. I've only got to watch like highlights and maybe at Open Gym the one day, but does a lot of the same things. Mm-hmm. But the other thing that stands out to me with you is the athleticism of your feet. A lot of people say Jokic isn't an athlete, and Jon can probably attest to this more than anyone. But guys like that, when you're that big, I don't know what you are, 240, and Jokic is 7 feet, two whatever, and to be able to have touch and footwork like that is maybe more athletic than being able to jump as high as, or just as athletic as being able to jump as high as like LeBron or something like that, in my opinion. So I think you're one of those, what I call, or what I've heard is a grounded athlete. So, but anyway, that was my little rant. I just want to jump in. But Josh, you got something for him?
No, I was going to say, model Frank Kaminsky on the court. That's a good one. Maybe off the court, you don't need to model him as much, But no, I'm just kidding. Frank's my guy. That's why I'm saying that. But so you grew up in Wisconsin, sounds like, Gus. I don't know, but my wife's from the Appleton area. I spent a lot of time up there. I grew up in Port Washington. So, in high school, we didn't quite play those teams. But I'm just curious what it's like for you to get to play in front of your home state. Because I know for me, Jordan and Jon grew up in Minnesota, but for me, growing up in the state of Wisconsin, playing for the Badgers, I mean, really a dream come true. And just being around family, around friends, being able to put on your home state jersey. I guess, what does that mean for you? And was that a big part of your decision?
Yeah. So, I mean, it means a lot to me. You guys probably don't know, but I've spent my whole high school career away from Wisconsin. I kind of like in 8th grade, what mattered to me was like how many Instagram followers I had and how good I looked on the internet all the time. So I took my basketball career out west to follow that kind of path. And I went to Mater Dei my freshman year. The pandemic hit. Yeah, the pandemic hit. I went home. I didn't play a modern day at all. I sat on the bench and played on the freshman team and filled up water bottles. So like I wasn't doing anything really out there. COVID hit. I started to focus more on basketball. I moved back home with my mom. And I had a really good summer. It's when Wisconsin offered me. And then I decided to go to IMG, was at IMG, was backing up NBA players right now, guys who are going to be in the draft. And I broke my foot. Was out for 9 months on and off, went back home, did my junior year in North Carolina because that's where my mom moved. And now I'm here in Indiana for my senior year. So I've been all over the country for high school a little bit. So I've seen everywhere, been everywhere. And like nothing to me has felt or been as comfortable or felt like as good as Wisconsin does. Like it's just, to me, it's the best state, the best place to be, the best people, the best food, the best culture. It's got the best everything to me. It's because it's home, but it's also because it's just those people and that feeling. So like going home and like being able to put on that jersey and step in the Kohl Center, which I've been going to since I was 5 years old, it's going to be surreal and it's going to be crazy because it's something that I've always wanted to do and it's what I dreamed about doing. Like I remember being in elementary school and getting NCAA basketball on my PlayStation and playing as Wisconsin every single day after school and winning national championships. So it's just like now getting the chance, like there was no other school to me. It was always Wisconsin.
Man, that's dope. That's dope. Best food. I know you're underage, but you might be drunk, my boy. I don't know about best food, but I'm happy to hear the love for Wisconsin. Also, just want to give you kudos, man, and shout you out because, again, these guys can testify to this, but not a lot of people can say they've been out of their comfort zone like that at that age. And I'm sure both of them will tell you that going outside your comfort zone at that age will serve you well, both in school and beyond, man. So, I remember going from Minneapolis to Madison my freshman year and being like homesick. And I look back on it now. Yeah. I'm in London right now, and I've been as far as Japan, and I'm like, God, you're soft as hell. So, you know what I'm saying? So, and John, I remember talking to John too. John used to be like, man, you're growing up a little bit. My first couple of years overseas, so it's like, so shout out to you, man, for having the wherewithal to be able to sit behind guys and just stick with it and continue to work on your game. But my question for you is seeing, obviously the team struggled a little bit this year. Going to the NIT, just kind of talk about where you see yourself fitting in next year, offensively, defensively, and then was it tough to watch the team struggle this year? Just be like, from the standpoint of like, this is my decision, and obviously no one wants to watch their future school struggle. But just talk about, I guess, how you felt watching the season this year.
Yeah, so I mean, originally this year, like coming into the year, a lot of people had talked about Wisconsin's like lack of depth at the big position, I guess, and how we didn't go out and get a transfer over the summer. And so like talking to the coaching staff at the end of the summer, there was the opportunity for me to join the team this year. I had enough eligible credits and was planning on getting my diploma, graduating, joining the team, and I was going to redshirt, and they were going to use me if needed. I don't know if they would have ended up using me or not, but I definitely could have benefited from the year there. But because of the schools I went to, each school has like a senior requirement, whether it be a senior trip, a senior speech, a senior project. So, and I hadn't done any of those, so I couldn't get my diploma from any of those schools. And Madison wouldn't take a GED, and I didn't have time to do anything else or figure anything else out. So I couldn't go this year. So watching the team struggle this year was kind of hard for me because like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I could have been there right now and I could have been helping contribute a little bit or could have been doing something or helping in any way. So to me, it was always kind of like battling, like, what if I went there? Like, could I have done anything this year? Would I have been an impact? So that's kind of what I felt. And then looking at the guys this year and like what's coming back next year, I don't know if Tyler plans on coming back next year or not, but if he does, then we'll have Steve, Tyler, and Gilly back. So I think we'll have 3 guys who have played in the Big Ten for more than 2 years consistently, and like they know what they're doing. One thing that I will say that I bring differently than Carter and Tyler is a little bit more creativity on offense, kind of like Steve plays with, being able to handle the ball out on and make reads off a dribble handoff or taking it down to the post and making a read out of there. I think I bring a little bit more of that offensive creativity. I can shoot it a little bit better, I think, and I kind of just play a little bit more freely. But I will say that they're both definitely more athletically gifted and stronger than me right now. And I think the biggest thing that I can take from all three of those guys is like nuggets on how to play. I struggle defensively a little bit. So once I'm able to figure that out, I'll be a really solid player, but it's about figuring it out and kind of learning from the guys ahead of me because they're so old and they're so experienced. It's going to be like, take everything you can and learn it. So when they're gone, you're able to do it and pass it down. So I'm really excited. I think that there's the opportunity for me to get on the court and make a big impact next year with the style of play that we have and with the team we're going to have. So I think that I will be kind of get my chance. And I know when I get my chance, I'm going to make the most of it for sure. So I'm really excited to do that and to go out there and play.
Man, you got something, Jon?
Yeah, I was just going to say, you mentioned, your skill set and playing on the perimeter. And I think back to when I was in high school, right? I was similar to you, tall, skilled, could go inside, outside. And seeing the Wisconsin system of how many guys have had success doing that, right? Bigs being able to step out. You mentioned, Stephen Crow, myself, Frank. I mean, there's just a long list of bigs that have had so much success in Wisconsin's program playing versatility, right? Inside, outside, handling the ball, and you're allowed to do that. So how much of that was a factor? How excited are you to play in a system like that, and how did that play into your decision to choose Wisconsin?
I mean, it was a huge reason for me. I think that like there's no one. I mean, there's few. Gonzaga maybe is the only other one I can really think of that like lets their guys go out and kind of make decisions like a point guard would in an offense. I think that it's really special and unique. Like Ethan Happ is another guy that you didn't say that, like who I think of all the time, who I try and replicate my game off of. He was a really, really great player. He would get rebounds and bring it up the floor and pretty much play point guard for that team that was supposed to finish towards the bottom of the Big Ten and ended up being really, really good. So I think that like Wisconsin, as long as they have that guy, they recruit players, they play with players who play off of that and through that system so well. So I think that just seeing myself kind of be put in that opportunity to be like that Ethan Happ, Frank Kaminsky, like yourself, kind of be that guy kind of pushing the team. It's like, it was crazy and to think about and to be like, yeah, I could really, really do this. I have the skill set and the ability and the capability. So I think why not? And I think that was a big reason. And talking to Coach Krabnoff and Coach Gard when they were recruiting me, they were saying, they're like, we want to use you like this. We don't want to limit you by putting you on the block or turning you into a 3-and-D kind of guy, being a role player. Like we want you to be like Frank Kaminsky. We want you to be like Ethan Happ. Like you're a gifted shooter too. It's going to be a threat for guys on the perimeter and inside. So it's just about getting there and developing it and getting ready for it.
Absolutely. I think you're going to be a perfect fit there, man. Yeah. I really do.
No question, man. I think I can speak for the other guys, but I love your confidence, your awareness. And then I think I've gotten to watch you play. I think you're going to bring a fun fire and a fun little swag to the team as well, man. So we're excited for you to get on campus and to see what you can do. We know you're going to do big things. If I would have made the NBA, I would have donated more. I don't know how much you're getting in NIL, but I would definitely given you some. You got to hit Jon. Tell Jon he owe you about 20 bands, man. Just tell him go ahead and break that down real quick one time. You know what I'm saying? No, all jokes aside, man, we're excited for you to get on campus. We really appreciate you coming on and joining us and taking the time with us. And I hope we get to see you on campus this summer too when we're back, and just anything we can do to help you at school or whatever it is, never hesitate to reach out. And yeah, we're happy to have you as a part of the family, man.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you so much for letting me get on here.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll talk to you soon. All right, Gus. Yeah, man. So, hey, that's Gus Yeldon for y'all. Really mature kid, man. It sounds like really mature, aware, and confident. That's one thing. I am very excited to see what he could do. What he can do. What he was talking about, just bringing the ball before that takes a lot of pressure off of guys like Chucky. It's kind of like almost like I would say like a mix of like Tyler and like a Frank, or Tyler and a Jon, or I don't know if he shoots it as well as you did, Jon, coming in, but just in general, I guess we'll find out. So I'm
those
excited
are high
for
standards,
the
Jordan.
table. Huh?
Those are high standards.
It's a very high standard, man. But listen, that's what we got to start holding people to. I mean, honestly, like I think. We've talked about this off camera, and I know Coach Gard and Joe feel the same way, and all the coaches, players. But I think Wisconsin's at a point where it's like Big Ten championships are great. And we're going to talk about Coach Gard's resume and what he's done so far. Big Ten championships are great. But I think they're at the point now where it's like we expect to go to, Elite Eights, Final Fours, and hopefully a national championship. And I think, when Jon and I were there, it was like Sweet 16, and Jon won a Big Ten title. And then Josh, you guys set that bar kind of higher. So I think it is time, to hold the program to those standards. And Jon, we talked about a little bit last week, which is why we understand the frustration of the fans. I think they get carried away with their frustration, but we understand the frustration when you do go to the NIT, because honestly, Wisconsin resume wise is in that stratosphere with the Blue Bloods in terms of what we've done over the past 20 years. So.
Yeah. And you look at, Jordan and I, we talked about this as far as the last 4 years, when you look at the success of the top 4 coaches in the Big Ten, Coach Gard arguably has the best resume of any coach in the Big Ten. Yeah. If it boils it down to it, if you include wins, tournament wins, Big Ten championships, it's Matt Painter, Izzo, Brad Underwood, and Coach Gard honestly has the best resume, in my opinion, of those 4. So, if you're going to say, if people are out there saying, some Badger fans putting him on the hot seat or anything like that, well, then you better be putting Tom Izzo on the hot seat too. You better be putting, Matt Painter, Brad Underwood, because he's done a better job the last 4 years than Tom Izzo. And, so, and I'm going on a rant right now that I've been on before, but we all know that some of those Badger fans get a little frustrating to hear from the Twitter crowd. And
just, Josh, before you jump in on that, just to give context for what Jon is talking about, we had Brad Underwood last 4 years. Brad Underwood is 55-25 with a 4th place, 2nd place, 1st place, and 5th place finish, and two tournament wins. Izzo is 45-35 with a 1st place, 8th place, 7th place, 4th place finish, and 1 tournament win. Matt Painter is 10th place finish, 4th place finish, 3rd place finish, and a 1st place finish this year, and 51-28 with 2 tournament wins. And Coach Gard falls in right there at 48-32 with 2 1st place finishes, 6th place, 11th place, and 2 tournament wins in that same time period. And then obviously, first, before I keep going, Josh, go ahead if you have anything to add to that.
No, not really. Even beyond Big Ten coaches, just keeping it local for the fans who typically are the Coach Gard. Tony Bennett, Mr. Beloved. Last year they were in the NIT. Virginia was in the NIT last year, and this year they get bounced in the first round of Furman. So it ain't like it's sweet everywhere else. Like Coach Gard won a Big Ten title, 12 months ago. 2 years prior to that, has had Sweet 16s. And for those folks who say, Coach Gard recruiting. Jordan, who recruited you?
Coach Gard.
Jon?
Coach Gard.
Yep. Myself. Fans like Sam Decker, pretty good player. Bronson Koenig. Everybody down the ride the last 15 years. Yeah, Bo Ryan was head coach. Coach Gard was the architect
on the phone
behind pretty much all the recruiting, all the scouting reports. We know this behind the scenes because we lived it. But Coach Gard was as important in a lot of ways as Bo Ryan was of the success of Wisconsin basketball over the 20 years. He was a part of all the recruits, of all the people you guys liked, all the fans liked over the years. Just calling it what it is. So Coach Gard is as a staple of Wisconsin basketball as Bo Ryan is, and any player, that's for sure.
No, absolutely. That's a great point. And I'm glad you brought up Virginia losing. I mean, we're at tournament time now, right? So everybody's paying attention to the tournament. Is it just me, or is the tournament even more of just a crapshoot these days with like so many that you can? It almost seems like random luck at this point if you make it to the Elite Eight or Final Four. Like it's getting more and more parity as the years go.
Do y'all think the NIL money adds incentive to some of these teams and players? Do you think
win, or what do you mean?
Just in terms of like the way guys, you're playing for money now. Like you go into these tournaments. If you're Princeton, if you're Furman, and you're playing Virginia, you're playing who did Princeton upset first round? Arizona. Like you're going into these games, and it's like, yo, if I go kill these dudes, I have 25. Somebody might give me $200,000-$300,000 to go to school somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Or 100,000, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think it incentivizes them, but I think the funny irony in what you just said, right? Princeton beat Arizona and Missouri. Arizona and Missouri probably spend millions of dollars a year in NIL money on their guys. Princeton, probably 0, right? Like, and the fact that they beat both of them are in the Sweet 16. I love when stuff like that happens because it just kind of flips the whole system on its head.
That's a great point. It's another spending money isn't the way. You can't just just like in pros, you can't just spend money to build a team. Like you have to put together the pieces, and you have to. So that's to your point, the other side of that argument.
I think another thing is all the top recruits in the country they're going out, all around the country. Alabama's getting a kid, Arkansas is getting a kid. But they used to all go to Kentucky or Duke, so it used to be maybe a little more top heavy. But I agree. I think it's a crapshoot. I think it's top to bottom. There's no great teams. There's no really crappy teams. Like, I don't know, the 16 seed being Purdue, it didn't feel like that major of an upset watching the game live. Like, it didn't feel like it was super lucky or anything like that. Like, they felt like their guards just outplayed them, and they were like, so yeah. Then the same thing with Princeton being Arizona. It's like, yeah, they're close at least. Like, so I just think the top teams aren't as dominant as it used to be in college basketball.
So that being said, would you rather be Purdue and have the season they just had and end the way it did, or would you rather be in the NIT and trying to make a run to win the NIT?
Purdue, come on.
Oh, man, losing to a 16 seed? But you won the Big Ten.
You won the Big Ten. You won the Big Ten championship.
The Big Ten and the Big Ten tournament. And they got National Player of the Year. And,
right.
I mean, come on.
That's got to sting, though.
That's got to sting.
If you're just losing to a 16 seed versus winning, if Wisconsin ends up winning the NIT, like that actually gets a little close. But
are we hanging a banner if we win an NIT championship? What are we doing with an NIT championship? Anything?
No,
we're not doing anything.
I'm just saying you might feel a little better winning, those next couple of weeks after the season. You're going to feel a little better. You won the NIT versus you lost to a 16 seed. That I'm just talking about the feeling you'll have.
Hold on. We not hanging a banner if we win the NIT?
What are we're going to hang a banner in the Kohl Center?
You're not hanging a banner if you win the NIT? Yeah, you hanging a banner if you win the NIT.
Are we?
Yeah.
Are we?
Yes.
I'm with Josh. I don't know. I mean, is that what is that what we're after?
Listen,
is that the banner we're trying to?
So it's going to be Final Four, Big Ten.
I think listen. Obviously, it's the NIT, but I am of the mindset that winning is hard. I think we all know that. I think that any and every accolade should be celebrated in this day and age, more so just from a recruiting standpoint. Like I think that every Big Ten player should be recognized, and all Big Ten players should be recognized in there. I think every All-American, every NBA player, like if you're a draft pick, you should be recognized in the rafters. I think those are things that,
I agree with that.
like,
that's different.
So that being said, I think NIT championship it's a championship. Like it's not the NCAA championship. I understand that it's not winning, but it's still a championship. And I think it's still a gauntlet, and it's still, if they go and run the table and win the NIT championship, you got to acknowledge that. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not disagreeing. First of all, yeah, I'm not disagreeing. It was a question. Are we hanging a Maui championship in the Bahamas?
Nah.
And that's a fair question. Legit, like it's a fair question. And I also just want to point out how Jordan kind of low key lobbies for me and him to get some recognition. He's like all Big Ten guys.
You feel me? You feel me? You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Show some love. Show some love. No, the all Big Ten. The all Big Ten was the all Big Ten was for Josh. That was for Josh, man. What you mean?
All Big Ten.
Yeah, you was. You were all Big Ten defensive team. Throw that up there too.
Absolutely.
Throw that at. No, honest to God, I truly feel this way, and you guys can tell me I'm dead wrong or not, but I do feel like obviously documented, love Wisconsin to death, love my alma mater. One thing that I think that we don't do well enough is celebrate those little things. Like that's a big deal, man. All Big Ten defensive team, that's a big deal. You're one of 5 guys in the entire conference. You think about it, and you know what made me think about this thing was Kyrie Irving put up a tweet where he talked about in the history of the NBA, and I don't know if he was accurate, but he said the history of the NBA, like there's been 6,000, 7,000 men that have played in the NBA. That's insane. So if you think about it, all Big Ten defensive team, there's been 100 guys in the past 20 years, all Big Ten defensive team. In the history of Three times in the history.
3 times.
So really,
Tell them, Josh.
So
Talk to them.
So 3 times, if you count the multiple winners, there's been probably less than that in the last 20 years, less than 100 guys. If you go back 50 years, that's 250 guys that have been max, that have been all Big Ten defensive team. 250 guys out of all the guys that come through the Big Ten. That's insane. Like, that type of stuff should be celebrated.
I totally agree with you. I'm just going to pull a little Jordan Taylor back at Jordan Taylor here, because you're just talking out of both sides of your mouth here, saying that, our standards, these are our standards, recruit, these are our high standards. And then you're talking about NIT banners and stuff. So I get what you're saying, but which one is it? It's somewhere in between. And we're
no. Because winning an NIT championship is still a high standard. Like, there's only X amount of NIT champions in the year. Like, just because you made the NCAA tournament doesn't mean that you would win the NIT. So that's very not true. Like, I agree. Most like, there's only one champion. Like, you're going through a 6-7 game turn, whatever it is, and you're coming out on top of that against good teams. Like some of these teams are good teams. It's not like, what I'm saying, North Carolina is in the NIT.
I just want to ask one question. What place are you playing for in the NIT? Is it 69th place?
No, absolutely not. If that's like, okay. I know that wasn't a serious question.
I'm just saying, is that
absolutely not? Absolutely not. I would argue that
68 teams make the tournament.
68 teams make the tournament, but I'll argue that if you win the NIT, you should finish as like a top 35 team.
Okay.
Top 30.
We hang a banner team for 35th place.
No, you hang a banner for winning a tournament. See, this is what y'all do. Like, y'all not going to do. You're hanging a banner for the accomplishment of running through a tournament and finishing on a high note. That's what you're.
I'm not disagreeing, Dre. I'm just saying, like, we bring back 10-year anniversary of Big Ten champion, 10-year Final Four. Are we bringing back this team 10 years for winning the NIT championship?
See, you're dragging it. Like, you're dragging.
No, I'm just saying there's a different level of celebrating.
No, you
should be happy.
No, you don't have to be
happy if we win the NIT. We should celebrate that internally. We should be very happy. It's a great accomplishment, this and that. But in terms of, like, the greater Wisconsin basketball history, like, what is the level that's going to be celebrated? I don't know. But let's go out and win the thing. I'm with you.
Yeah,
Coach Taylor.
Yeah, listen, I don't know about the whole reunion thing. To be honest with you, I think they should get a banner. They can have their little reunion at the Nitty Gritty on their own time. But I think they would be deserving of a banner, man. But yeah, man, absolutely. But hey, man, listen, this is the finale. I appreciate you both for taking this ride with me this season. It's been a lot of fun to have you guys on. We'll definitely have you both back on next year at some point in time. We'll get that all worked out. For everybody listening, all the Badger fans, we appreciate you guys checking us out this season and stay tapped in with us throughout the off season for highlights and some more things coming down the pipeline at Beyond the Big Ten. Be sure to check us out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you get your podcasts. And on YouTube and all social media, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, like I said, at Beyond the Big Ten, not spelled out, but the number 10. I am Jordan Taylor. That is Jon Leuer and my guy, Josh Gosser. We love y'all. Appreciate y'all. We're looking forward to tapping in next year for Gus Bus and everything coming down the pipeline with the basketball squad, man. So we'll catch y'all next time.
Beyond the Big Ten is a network of podcasts that aims to be your go-to resource for all things Big Ten. We cover the entire conference with shows hosted by ex-players and athletic alumni, aiming to be your go-to source of information and entertainment for your favorite team. Hosted by ex-Big Ten players, media, and insiders, our podcasts are focused on giving diehard fans and those alums an inside scoop about the teams and people that make the Big Ten Conference one of the most watched and most talked about conferences in sports. We're excited to talk Big Ten basketball with you wherever you may be. Subscribe now.